And Matt, you're talking about power, and what do you think the latest with Justin Upton is? Do you think that there's a real interest there, or what do you think?
I have no idea if they're interested in Justin Upton. I mean, I would think they'd have to be. It's you never really know what Kevin Towers and the Diamondbacks are going to do. He's kind of sneaky and he talks a lot. You see lots of different conflicting reports all the time about what their intentions are. Last summer, I had heard that they were in the market for a starting pitcher. It seems like maybe that has changed because most of the reports coming out now are that they're looking for either a shortstop or an outfielder. So I'm not sure what that does for the Mets, but I would think they'd have to be interested in Upton. They save a little bit of money on Bay. If they trade Dickey, let's say, that opens up a little bit of money. So Upton making only $9 million this year could fit in. But my guess is that this front office probably wants to get the biggest bang for the buck. And I'm not sure they're going to go that route because it's an Upton's going to cost the John Neese. It's going to cost some legitimate talent, and I think they'd rather move Dickey and get some younger players, maybe with a little bit more upside and a little less immediate impact, and see what happens, and keep a kid like Neese. I think those are the situations facing the Mets right now. They're not easy, but I just have a feeling they'll go that way and not a guy like Justin Upton.
Matt, let me throw this at you, too, and I might be alone on this, but, Josh Tolle is just brutal, and I've had trouble watching him over the past couple seasons. But to his credit, he has caught the knuckleball with Dickey, and I'm assuming that if they move Dickey, this is sort of a two-part question. If they move Dickey, would Josh Tolle be in the mix with that deal since he is his personal catcher? Also, how much pressure is there on Alderson to acquire a catcher to sort of either help out Tolle or eventually take the starting job?
It's an excellent point. I was just talking about it this morning. It does make sense that if Dickey's going in a deal, that Tolle goes with him. It makes perfect sense. Tolle is a backup catcher. He's not an everyday player. I'm actually incredibly disappointed. I thought he would be a little bit better, offensively than he's been. But I don't think he's that bad. I think he's just a little bit of a bad rap. But he's not a starter, and the Mets have enough singles hitters. They don't need to be playing Josh Tolle the bulk of games. And you're right, he does a very good job catching Dickey. They seem to have a really good rapport, so that would make sense. In either case, I do think they want to try and find a better catcher, whether that comes in trade, whether that's a veteran. I have no idea. My guess is they'll try to make a trade and get somebody young, and so maybe that's part of the Dickey deal.
All right, now, and Matt, we got a couple more seconds with Matt Cerrone. Check it out, his blog at www.metsblog.com. Matt, how much pressure is on Terry Collins that if this team is not even competitive this year, that he would be on the hot seat?
Well, they didn't give him an extension, so he's essentially a lame duck manager, and so in that regard, yeah, absolutely. I don't think it was ever the intent to have Terry manage this team more than 4, 5, 6 years. I don't think they look at him as as a lifer, in that dugout. And I'm not even sure he necessarily wanted to do that. I don't know what that means, but it could be an indication of why they haven't done any kind of an extension. The team did not play well down the stretch. Everybody knows that. I think this idea that they quit, I don't know that that's necessarily accurate. I don't think he lost the team, but we'll know that in spring training. He's going to have a lot of the same guys. It's going to be the same message. It's going to be the same manager. So if they come out of the gate sluggish, I wouldn't be shocked to see them make a move. So long as they're playing well, I think it's fine. If he gets through the summer, my guess is he ends the year with them, and then they kind of just visit, something around then. Maybe he gets an extension towards the end of next year if they're playing well. But, if they start off slow, it wouldn't surprise me to see him go.
And, Matt, with that, when do you think the Mets will be in serious contention to win anything? Because we've heard 2014, but I feel like the 2014 mark is just when the hot prospects will come up and start actually making an impact. When do you think that they'll be in serious contention?
Well, the 2014, and forgive me, I'm on the street, so the 2014 marker is not just about prospects. It's also knowing that the money due to Santana and Bay disappears. That theoretically opens up anywhere between $40 or $50 million in the budget going into the 2014 season. And so I think probably the reason people kind of look at that is because, yes, a guy like Zach Wheeler, will have probably pitched in the big leagues and you'll know what he is. Harvey will be a few years down the line. Ike Davis will be a few years down the line. You'll know what you have in Judah. Neese is what he is. You're going to have a young crop of players that you now know who they are, plus the ability to spend another 30, 40, 50, who knows how much money, $1 million on free agent players and acquisitions. And I think that's why 14 gets talked about. But like I said at the beginning, there's no reason. There really isn't. I know people want to be defeatist, and it's in our nature to kind of just assume things are going to go poorly. But there's, when you look at the way baseball has gone these last few years, there's no reason to think that if they got production out of Duda next year and they're able to acquire a bat for Dickey, and the pitching staff just does what they did last year, and guys like Edgin, and Carson and whatnot are able to hold up the bullpen like they did. Why can't the Mets do what the Orioles did, or why can't they do what Oakland was able to do if they get a couple breaks? So there's really no reason to think 13 is a total write-off. It's wise to look at 14 for the reasons we said, but I wouldn't give up hope for 2013. Now, you got a believer, but to me, it just looks like anything's possible.
Matt, before we let you go, gut feeling, if you have to answer it, when or if do they sign David Wright?
I think it'll be this offseason. I think it'll be sooner than later, and my guess is they'll announce something sooner than later.
Do you have a date?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a date?
Don't have a date? No, I don't have a date.
No. Do you have a date on when you think they'll sign him?
Yeah, no, I have no idea, but I would think it would be before the winter meetings, and I would think it might be after a trade for Dickey, just because from a PR point of view that seems to make sense. But I would think it'd be sooner than later. I don't think they let it get too far into the off season. It just makes more sense that way.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time. Check out Matt's blog on Metsblog.com. And, Matt, you got to believe.
You got it, guys. Anytime.
Thank you,
All right,
Matt.
Take care, Matt.